Welcome to Motorsports Today's special Spotify exclusive episode showcasing content from our weekend covering NASCAR racing at Pocono Raceway. I'm Eddie Kalegi. In addition to writing articles, posting tweets, taking pictures, Adam Tropper, Tim Moore, and I collected plenty of audio content with drivers across the garage throughout the weekend. It was an unbelievable experience there for 3 days, 4 races, media bullpen for Cup drivers, really something that will be an unforgettable experience for all three of us. Well, before the race began, Tim Moore spoke about what makes Pocono so unique on an episode of Sports Speak Live. Tim, talking about the track itself, we know drivers say it's a challenge, and it's so different from anything else we see on the circuit. We got 3 turns. They're all new, unique. And when we were driving up today, you mentioned how this is a little different than most tracks we have on the schedule now because it's a driver's track, and we just don't really see that much anymore.
Right. And overall, what we've seen, about this track is time's gone on is, and you mentioned difficulty with shifting and everything, 3 different corners. Especially with this next gen, it takes a lot of energy out of the guys. We've seen this track now become one 400-mile race rather than even the double header we saw a few seasons ago. So I think going into Sunday, and I think Kyle Busch, I think when we talked to him earlier, kind of hit it on the head. He talked about his struggles at short tracks and Christopher Bell actually as well talked about how they kind of view this track as an intermediate, not really a bigger track or so on. And a lot of the tracks that unfortunately aren't on the schedule, such as Indianapolis Oval, which is the closest comparison, I would say, to Pocono, these guys don't go to at all. So there's going to be a lot of notes being tossed around. There's going to be a lot of challenges.
These challenges influenced several drivers to run double duty, including Christopher Bell, who opted to run Saturday afternoon's truck race.
Tropper, Motorsports Today. So as Cup drivers, you only get limited truck starts every year. Is there any particular reason why Pocono Raceway ended up on your truck schedule?
Honestly, none from my standpoint. Matt Lucas at HRE contacted me earlier on in the season about doing a couple starts, and I said, yeah, if it works out and you guys are able to do it, I would. And North Wilkesboro was one that they really wanted to do, and it was a good one for me too because nobody had any track time there. And then after North Wilkesboro, he mentioned Pocono, so I would say it was more on the team than me.
One driver not running double duty was Ricky Stenhouse, but the Chevy veteran is enjoying arguably his career best Cup season and spoke with Tim, Adam, and I about that and the track. Obviously, last year, the first year you came here with the next-gen car, Pocono always a difficult track to navigate. What was the biggest change driving the next-gen here?
Probably getting through the tunnel turn, just a little rougher. This car, the way we run the car is just a little rougher than what we're used to with the old car here, and so I feel like that was probably the biggest issue.
So has this season, with you winning the Daytona 500, being locked into playoffs right out of the gate, has this season felt any different in terms of how you've been able to race, or regardless of how well your team's been performing this year?
I mean, it's definitely been different. We've definitely performed way better than we did last year on all racetracks, which is good. I mean, that was what we, kind of set out in this offseason to do, is really improve at the racetracks that we struggled at. And some of those racetracks that were the worst racetracks for us last year have been some of the best racetracks for us this year. And so, winning the 500 definitely helped us go into every race since then, probably a little looser, a little freer. And, maybe that's contributed to some of the success as well. But now, some of those really good races have brought us some, confidence that, my guys are, building confidence in the setups that they're putting in the race car. I'm building more confidence in, what I can do behind the wheel at some of these racetracks that we have struggled at in the past. And so all around, it's been, that win always helps.
That's great. Thanks.
Ricky, coming into the weekend, overall, there was a lot of speculation about how the tunnel turn would be. Is there any part of the track that maybe you're perhaps worried about or want to emphasize on being good at?
Yeah, I mean, so last year I ran the middle of the racetrack through the tunnel. Felt like that was a little bit smoother for me. I felt like I was able to carry a little bit more momentum through there. Ran the simulator this week, and it was pretty rough in the tunnel, but I don't know. I'm crossing my fingers that I told him correctly that there's no way that the tunnel turns that rough compared to last year. So I guess I'll find out here pretty soon. But Yeah, it's still the trickiest part. You kind of hold your breath going through there.
Again, a thank you to Ricky Stenhouse, who took some time with all three of us to do a full interview during the media bullpen. Great access for us and allowing us to have that chance. Another storyline of the weekend came from NASCAR's crackdown on restart procedures, including drivers who lay back to get runs. Joey Logano does appreciate the concern, but is skeptical about the effectiveness of NASCAR's crackdown.
Yeah, it's a cycle. It's a cycle, and it happens all the time. They crack down on some rules, and everyone's like, oh, and they get scared to do it, and then you don't see a penalty for a few weeks, and all right, you push it, okay, you push it, everyone starts pushing it. Before you know it, everyone's laying back again, and then they're forced to make another call. So there just needs to be consistency in doing it every time. And restart calls, in their defense, are sometimes very obvious, and sometimes they're very hard to make the call because could be 2 or 3 things that happen to it. And sometimes you black flag the whole field at some of these restarts. So, yeah, it's what it is, but it's just a cycle that it seems like we go through once a year typically.
So, is the tricky triangle more like an oval or a road course? I asked Tyler Reddick, one of the series' best on road circuits. Reddick also discussed NASCAR's world-class road course fields in 2023, including his new teammate coming to the grid next month.
Do you take anything from your road course success, applying it here, or do you see this track more like an intermediate?
Yeah, well, it's not even really like an intermediate. It's its own thing. The next-gen car is really like deep entry, really tacky entry, and in here it doesn't really work. So it's kind of its own animal. It's all about qualifying and just starting up front. You can really have a good day if you do those things.
And the Indy road course coming up next month, where you won it last year. Obviously, the news SVG is coming to that race. It's a stacked field. So, as someone who does so well at road courses, what does it mean to you to see road course drivers from really all around the world coming to take on NASCAR in the next gen car?
Yeah, it's cool that they're coming back, and others are doing it for the first time. But, for me, I'm just really excited for my teammate Kamui Kobayashi. He's a very, internationally proclaimed, road course superstar, and has done a lot in his open wheel and endurance racing career. So I'm really excited that he's going to be my teammate there. Me and Bubba are looking forward to that. He got to have his rookie test, I think it's called, this week, and he did exceptionally well. So I think he's going to be very, very quick. It's just going to be the little things that us NASCAR drivers are so used to that we'll be adjusting to.
Thanks, Tyler.
While that is all great and grand, Team Penske's Austin Cindric hopes for more from the ringers. What kind of testament is this to NASCAR that we're seeing drivers really from all over the world trying these next-gen cars out?
I think it's great, having some talent like obviously Shane, obviously Brody's having a really strong year in supercars this year, but I think it's really cool. But I want someone to do an oval, cool, like road course racing and all that. That's something very familiar. I want to see someone go really far outside of their comfort zone, because I know what that transition was like for me. And look at anywhere else you're pulling from motorsport, with the exception of the dirt racing world, which we've had some really stellar dirt racers come and try out Bristol Dirt or some of the truck races on dirt in the past. But we haven't seen someone just flat out go out and figure it out on an oval. That's the majority of our schedule. So I would challenge those who want to come do this to go do it.
A Friday night rainout set up a Saturday triple header, starting with an early morning ARCA race. Malcolm in the Middle star Frankie Muniz showed speed, but a battery issue derailed his day. Muniz spoke with Adam Tropper about the incident and what parallels exist between Hollywood and the racetrack.
They were saying, oh, well, bump start you. I'm like, no, my gauges were going crazy. I was, when the car died in turn 2, I was trying to get it to refire and it wouldn't. So I knew it was more than just a starter issue or whatever. It just takes so long to kind of check everything to make sure, and then we realized, yep, that's what it is.
So you've been known to be a jack of all trades for your entire life, music career, acting. Well, I loved Agent Cody Banks growing up, Malcolm in the Middle, but I guess how has both being involved in both of those industries, are there any specific skills or skill sets that have translated to helping you in your racing career this season?
I would say the only comparison I can I think, take from the acting world or music is when it's time to perform, you have to perform. You know what I mean? Like, you have to put your head down and do it. But it's very different. You know, it's a different mindset, different preparation. The emotions in this are on a way larger scale, right? Like, I'm pissed right now. You know what I mean? Not many days I ended as an actor pissed, right? Maybe I didn't think I did a great job or anything, but I just went home and went back the next day. You know, the fact that this had such a dramatic effect on my championship hopes. You know, I think I lost second. I might even be fourth. But I'm so far away from Jesse Love now.
Jesse Love could not be stopped, winning for the 5th time this season. But the biggest reason for his victory may have been his decision to flip to the inside line on restarts, avoiding a stack-up with Andres Perez de Lara and Dean Thompson that damaged both cars. Hey Jesse, Eddie Kalegi, Motorsports Today. I wanted to talk a little bit about lane choice because at the beginning of the race we saw it seemed like the outside line was the preferred lane at the beginning on restarts, and we saw you and Andres go up there. So could you take me through some of the strategy those last 2 restarts to move to the bottom?
Yeah, I think that, you know, last year the leader on the inside was kind of a sitting duck because third would always, you know, being me, I would always just pull out and pass the guy in first and make it 3 wide. This year, you know, I kind of did a little bit of homework on how to not let that happen and time runs and how you wait for people to come on with it and all that stuff. So I don't know, I thought that it was a lot safer to be there. If you're top of 3, you're all the way up in like the slick PJ, or not, it's not laid down, but that, you know, stained pavement. You're up there in the top of it where it's kind of greasy and such. If you're in the middle, you're where it's worked in. If you're on the bottom, you know, you're good. So I didn't want to be top of 3. If I thought I was, you know, middle of 3, that I could just, you know, bonsai it off in there and have positive momentum and have side force and be okay.
In the early afternoon, Kyle Busch headed to the track for his final truck start of the season. How has the switch to Chevy impacted KBM?
Have there been any noticeable differences in the how you drive or just how you've been able to perform by switching manufacturers?
I would have said right after Vegas that it was seamless and we're actually better off. You know, we won Vegas in dominating fashion earlier this year. All 3 of us qualified 1, 2, 3, so it was really, really good and gave us some high optimism for the year. But since then, it just hasn't quite gone that way. And, you know, so Kansas was a struggle for us. We were just super off on balance. We did not have a very good feel there for what we needed from sim. You know, so Pocono, I didn't do any sim stuff for here, so I just told them to rely on past notes. We've always been really, really fast here. Just, you know, look at what balances we need and go from there, and we'll see what happens with, again, no PJ1 or anything like that being sprayed down. So I would like to think that, you know, our stuff is just fine. It's just as good as it should be. You know, unfortunately, William didn't get any wins in his races that he was with us either, so that was another head scratcher and a bit unfortunate. So we know we got to get better, and there's some things that we know we're kind of lacking on. I've tried to voice that, and so hopefully we can remedy.
And remedy he did, as Kyle Busch passed Corey Heim on the final lap for the victory, the 100th in the history of Kyle Busch Motorsports. The penultimate race of the Truck Series regular season wasn't without drama, as several drivers, including Zane Smith and Ross Chastain, were caught up in a huge crash late. Here's what Smith and Chastain had to say.
Just a bummer. Fortunately, they did get those 2 playoff points, though, so that's a positive for today. We had a fast truck. Just nothing to show for it.
Following up on that, Ross, how do you kind of reset your mind now going to practice and to qualifying after an incident like this?
Probably go for a jog. Go run around the infield and sweat out the bad luck we had with the Nice Motorsports Group this year.
Saturday wrapped up with the NASCAR Xfinity Series and a race dominated by Junior Motorsports' Josh Berry. But Berry's late race miscue opened the door for Austin Hill. Final lap contact with teammate Sam Mayer ended his day. Here's how Berry evaluated those last 2 laps.
Or if
He kind of pushed me in there a little bit faster than I wanted to go, but just got loose and got on the track. And he was hammering really good on me. That's why we got such a good restart, which is, it's just racing. It's hard racing on the restart there at the end. I feel like he did the right thing, and I just we weren't able to close it out.
And then the tire going down, is that just a contract with Sam?
Yeah, I would say so. And unless I would say that the contact with Sam kind of got it. It looked like in my mirror that he was going to be behind the 21, and I think kind of right as I moved right to cover that, he moved left with the run on the 21. It was just recently.
Austin Hill's surprising victory created a notable storyline for the weekend. Old tires reigned supreme.
Hey Austin, Eddie Kalegi, Motorsports Today. Congrats on the win. Something else we haven't really talked about with the strategy was the tires. And I mean, we saw Josh on the last restart kind of overcook turn one. And then on the last lap for you, even on the old tires, you were able to kind of grip so well on the bottom. So I wonder if you attribute that more to the fall off not being maybe as bad as you would have thought, or you talked about the handling from the RCR cars and you like it a little free. So was the handling to your liking, or was the fall off just not as bad as one might have thought here at Pocono?
I think the fall off was the main key, because I actually was still pretty tight there at the end of the race. I tried to run it as deep as I could into turn one, and I started kind of sliding the front end, so I had to use some brake and slow me down. So yeah, we didn't have the balance exactly where we wanted it. But I just think that the way the tire was, I don't know if it's just a little bit softer tire or what it is, but the fall off just wasn't there today like it has been in the past here. Normally you come to Pocono and you'll fall off a second and a half throughout a run or whatever it is. I just didn't see that much fall off today, so I think that kind of contributed into us being able to hold them off.
Fans packed the grandstands for Sunday's Cup Series High Point 400 to wrap up an awesome weekend, and the main event certainly didn't disappoint. There was a little mist about an hour before the race, but overall, great weather all weekend. Would have never thought that the one Cup race in the month of July, unaffected by rain, would come at Pocono Raceway. Cars were on edge from the drop of the green flag, and restarts were chaotic. Stage 1 winner Joey Logano lost it in the middle of the pack, and the wreck collected Daniel Suarez, a driver on the playoff bubble. Suarez and Logano each discussed what happened.
I don't know what happened, really. I just know that we got turned around from the right rear. I don't know exactly how it happened, everything, but all I know is that we're out of the race, and that's not great. At the end of the day, I think there is nobody to blame but ourselves. I don't think we should have been racing in the back like we were. We're much better than that. We just missed the balance of the car at the first stage, and we're just making some adjustments to trying to make it better. And unfortunately, we didn't get to try it.
It's just a lot of jostling for sure. I had to run down the center, which was great. I was going to put me in a really good spot in the turn one, and my car fired off really well. To turn one, we've seen that in the restart before that, so I felt real confident about putting myself in a tough position, my car to handle well. And it just started squeezing up. When I came back up to avoid the cars on the inside and the outside of me, I had to check up just a little bit, and then it just got to the 34 car right here. It turned so quick, there's no chance to save it. It was 3 around, so then they kind of slide and hope not to get hit, which we don't hit me, but the wall ended up hitting.
Former Richard Childress Racing teammates tangled in Stage 3 as contact between Austin Dillon and Tyler Reddick ended Dillon's day. Dillon would show his frustration by throwing his helmet at Reddick's car, not nearly as accurate as Tony Stewart's throw at Matt Kenseth at Bristol in 2012. The current RCR driver thought he did everything right.
I mean, it is what it is, man. Everybody races each other like that. At this point, I really don't know. I mean, I thought I was doing the right thing, just going into the middle lane of the track. I wasn't on the bottom lane. I was going to hold the middle. He drove up into me from the bottom lane. I just heard one interview where Junior thought I started coming down the corner, and that's kind of natural to enter the corner that way. I don't know.
But the driver drama did not stop there. In a move reminiscent to last season's tangle with Ross Chastain, Denny Hamlin forced Kyle Larson into the wall with under 10 laps to go and ultimately went on to win the race as Larson tumbled to 21st. As boos rained down from the Pocono crowd, the two shared different views on the matter.
I was nervous of the move that happened because he made it work on Ross last year, and he dirtied him up. he knows, and Ross deserved it last year for all those times that he got into Denny. So I felt like I didn't. I deserved to be raced with respect, at least through turn one. But he knew that was going to be his only opportunity to beat me. He knew how bad Dirty Air was, so I got used up. So just unfortunate. I feel like we've had a handful of run-ins. I've never had to reach out to apologize.
Kind of blowing that up, but that's not true. We've not had run-ins. I got in the back of him in Atlanta trying to push him. That's in a draft. We're drafting. So that was a draft gone bad. And then we're racing, once again, we're racing for the win at Kansas, and he gets in the fence, comes off the fence, and I tag him in the left rear. I get it. I know you guys are trying to go with this, but when it comes to getting 50 for me, 600 for Toyota, I'm going to make sure that I drive as hard as I possibly can.
It was a landmark win for Hamlin, marking a record 7 at Pocono, 50 for his Cup career, and 600 for Toyota in NASCAR. Hamlin said it'll take a while to set in, but this achievement is nothing short of special.
We're in the heat of the moment now. I'm answering questions about what I did was fair or not. Give me a break. It's like it takes time, and I never thought I'd get an opportunity in the Cup Series, but luckily JD Gibbs took a chance, and Joe Gibbs took a chance on me nearly 20 years ago, and to get my 50th when it comes down to the track that I got my first, it certainly is special. And like I told you yesterday, I knew that every weekend I go into it thinking, man, this would be the perfect weekend for it, because there's always the right time to win. But I think there's just little things like my old car chief, Spider, that works at the Joe Gibbs Racing, found in his old toolbox my grandmother's St. Christopher. And so I get in my car for practice, and it's sitting on my dash. And I'm like, I hadn't seen that thing. I thought it was lost. We would always my mom would put that in there before the race. And so on the dash, I sat down and I said, well, we're winning this weekend.
With 3 top 5 finishers, including grandson Ty's career best Cup finish, Joe Gibbs is happy with all 4 of his teams and the chemistry they bring to the track.
Managing a 4-car team, that's never easy to keep all 4 cars consistent and mixing and matching sort of. Last week, Christopher and Martin so strong. Martin gets the win. This week, as we've talked about, 3 cars in the top 5. So as much as winning races is key, how important is it for you guys to be, as a program, having all 4 cars consistent and strong each and every week?
Well, one of the things I love about NASCAR is the fact that it is so hard, and it is for us, it's 4 cars having to work together. And that's hard, to get that done. But at the same time, that's the best way to go forward in NASCAR, working with your teammates. And so back at the race shop, we're all together. We work together. We get to the race track and try and solve problems together. Once the race starts, we've proven that over a period of time. Everybody's on their own. And so, but I do think that's one thing I appreciate about NASCAR. It's extremely hard. It's unlike any other sport. You got to get four teams working together. And so far our guys have got a good chemistry with that, and they understand the sport. And I think they're veteran guys that understand working with 4 teams is the way to solve problems.
This weekend wasn't just about racing, though. Cinema fans know about the Barbie versus Oppenheimer debate. Denny Hamlin saw Barbie with his family and was clearly not a fan.
Denny, how's Barbie? Why don't you like Barbie?
Thank you again for following along with our coverage. We really had an incredible time, and hope to be back at the track sometime soon. For more, you can check out our website. We posted several articles throughout the weekend, sports-speak.com/motorsports-today. You can watch our YouTube shorts on the Sports Speak YouTube channel. Those are also linked on our Twitter page at MTRSPRTS Today. And of course, stay tuned for a full episode on Friday on WRSU-FM New Brunswick, airing at noon. Available after the fact on Spotify. We'll go through some of this again. Also talk IndyCar, Joseph Newgarden's sweep, and talk a little F1 as well. Another great run for McLaren in Hungary, and another win for Max Verstappen. But until then, I'm Eddie Kalegi signing off of Motorsports Today, and I'll talk to you this weekend.